Hi guys, my name is Jessica and today I will be giving you summer book recommendations. I have a variety of genres. I have YA romance, adult romance, mystery, sci-fi, fantasy. So let's get started. The first category I have is YA romance. The first book I recommend is The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. I think this book is very cute. I read this about a year ago and this book takes place on Martha's Vineyard and also during a wedding, and her family plays a big game of assassin. However, this is the main character Meredith's first summer without her sister Claire. Her sister passed away about a year and a half ago, and so now she's trying to reconnect with everybody, and one way that she decides to honor her sister is by trying to win the game of assassin because her sister was really good at it and won pretty much every single year. To help her win, she decides to team up with one of the groomsmen. She starts to fall for him. I think that this book is super cute and I actually plan on rereading it this year. The next book I have to recommend is actually a trilogy, and that is The Summer I Turned Pretty. I read this a couple of years ago. I remember enjoying it when I was younger. There's also a TV show on Amazon Prime. I'm very excited for the new season of the show and I cannot wait for it to come out. I don't think it's gonna come out for a while though. So I don't know why I literally did not say anything else about the book. But to make it nice, short and sweet, this girl named Belly, she spends every summer at Cousin's Beach and she stays in this beach house with family friends, and at Cousin's Beach there is Conrad and Jeremiah. Ever since she was young, she has had this massive crush on Conrad, but as they get older, it turns out that Jeremiah also likes Belly. So in this book, there's a whole love triangle. I really do think that this is a really good summer read because it takes place during the summer. It goes across multiple years. I have like the giant book that has all three of them, so I read it all as one. If you're like a teenager, I highly recommend this series. I think that it was really cute. The next book I recommend is Betting on You by Lynn Painter. This book is about Bailey and Charlie. They had met a couple years ago on an airplane and thought they would never see each other again. However, they both start working at the new hotel water park. Additionally, both of their friends also work at the hotel water park, and their two friends keep hanging out with each other, and so they make a bet on whether or not that their best friends are going to fall in love with each other. Charlie insists that guys and girls cannot be best friends, but Bailey disagrees. Back at home, Bailey does not like her mom's new boyfriend, so in order to aggravate him, Charlie and Bailey team up and they fake date each other. However, Charlie starts to catch feelings. Charlie made a bet earlier with his best friend and Bailey does not know about it. This book was super cute and lighthearted. I really enjoyed it. I listened to it as an audiobook, which I also recommend doing. I think it was a very good audiobook. I'm very picky about my audiobooks. The next category I have is adult romance, and for this I recommend pretty much any Emily Henry book. The only one of hers I have not read is Funny Story. I specifically recommend Happy Place, Book Lovers, and Beach Read. Beach Read follows January and Augustus. January is a romance author, while this is a accomplished literary fiction author. January has a really bad writing block, and so she and Augustus decide to switch genres and they challenge each other to write in their genre. To do this, they take each other on field trips to learn about how to write in each other's genre. They both have to write a book by the end of their deadline, and while this is occurring, they start to love each other. This one is sort of like an enemies to lovers. I would say it's more of rivals. Book Lovers follows Nora, and she is a literary agent. She is convinced by her sister Libby to go to a small town on vacation, and there she runs into Charlie, who is a book editor, and the first time they had met was actually back in the city, and they didn't quite get along with each other. However, now they are thrown into a project together, and so they have to kind of get over it. Happy Place follows Harriet and Wynne. They had been together since college, except now they have broken up, but they have not told any of their close friends. Every year, their group of friends goes to a cottage in Maine. In order to keep their secret from their friends and not ruin the trip, they decide to fake date each other again and pretend that they're still together. I really enjoyed this book and I loved the characters. I think that their chemistry was really nice and authentic. Honestly, I love anything that Emily Henry writes. I think that her writing is very good and I can never put down the book when I'm reading something by her. I feel like her characters are really relatable, and I like that her books don't feel like it's just a romance. There's a lot going on, a lot about friendship, a lot about family. The next adult romance book that I recommend is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. This book is a childhood friends to lovers to not speaking to each other anymore. This book goes back and forth between when they were kids and then in the present when they're adults. Something happened when they were teenagers to where they don't talk to each other anymore, but they have run into each other, so now they are working through what happened. This is a very cozy read. There's so many things I loved about this book. I loved the writing, I loved the characters, I loved the setting. This book also reminds me of Every Summer After. If you liked that book, then you'll definitely like this one. I definitely recommend this one a little bit more than Every Summer After though. The next three books I recommend are, to me, have summer vibes but aren't particularly summer books. They are adult. The first book in this category that I have is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delilah Owens. I really enjoyed this book when I read it, and it also has a movie. If you have not watched the movie, I definitely highly recommend it. Actually one of the best book to movie adaptations I've ever seen. This book goes over the course of Kaya Clark's life. It starts off with her being a little girl, and eventually Kaya, after some time, eventually lives by herself in the marsh. She's an outcast from her town, and people call her the Marsh Girl. One day, a well-loved local turns up dead, and since Kaya is an outcast, they blame her. So this book is a mystery. It has a romance subplot and kind of coming of age. I do think it is a little bit slower paced, but I don't think that really took anything away from the book. I still really thoroughly enjoyed it. Next up, I have Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Every year, Nina throws a end of the summer party, and it gets a little crazy. Nina is the daughter of a very famous singer. This book has a lot of themes, including romance, coming of age, mystery, family, and more. The next book I recommend is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This book blew up all over the internet a while back, and I definitely think it's worth the hype. I put off reading it for a very long time, and I regret it. This is an Achilles retelling. This book follows a lot of Patroclus. Patroclus and Achilles grew up together for the most part, and they are hardly ever apart from each other. While Achilles is meant for war, Patroclus is kind of the opposite. This book was so good. This book did make me cry. While this book doesn't take place like in a summery setting, I still think this is an enjoyable read for summer. Next category I have is mystery. I think most of the books I have on this list are YA. First up, I have the Inheritance Games trilogy. One day Avery finds out that she actually inherited this millionaire's fortune after he passed away. The only requirement is that she has to live at his house for a year, and his entire family lives there, and they cannot understand why this girl that they've never met before gets the fortune. Avery and the four grandsons of the millionaire are determined to figure out why she inherited the fortune. The next series I recommend is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I mostly recommend this one because it is being turned into a TV show. It already released in the UK, it's not out in the US yet. I have yet to watch it, so I cannot really speak on the show yet, but I really enjoyed the series. This series is about a teenage girl who tries to solve a murder that happened a few years ago in her town, and to do this she teams up with the boy that was murder's brother. In this series, I never really could see where it was going. I think it had a lot of really good plot twists. It wasn't predictable to me. I didn't really figure out the ending. I mean, I had my suspicions, but I still wasn't 100% sure how the book was gonna end, and I really like that in mysteries. I hate being able to figure it out. The next series I recommend is The Naturals. I've only read the first two books, but I still recommend it. The series is about a group of teenagers who have natural abilities that help them figure out murder cases, and they are in a program with the FBI. I've been listening to this series as an audiobook, and I think the audiobook of this is really good if you are interested in checking that out. Hey guys, so it is actually the next day. Since it was thundering and raining outside, it kept disrupting the video, and also I was worried about it getting really dark in here, and I didn't want the lighting to be really bad. So I decided just to finish it today. I left off in the mystery category, and I have one more left for that category. My last recommendation for mystery is House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. This book was really different from other books I've read before. I actually read this one a couple of years ago. I think it was like 2 years ago that I read this book. It's 100% not what I had expected. It is a mystery, but it also has supernatural elements to it. This book is about Iris Hollow and her two older sisters. When they were kids, they disappeared randomly and came back a month later with no memory, and their appearance had changed. One day, one of the sisters goes missing again, and when the two sisters are trying to find her, they have these really strange supernatural encounters. And with these encounters, they start to discover what happened during that month that they had disappeared when they were kids. This book is definitely on the creepier side, so if you're into that, this is a really good book for you. I'm pretty sure it is YA. This book was really interesting, and I did not see the ending coming. The next category I have is fantasy and sci-fi. First up, I have the Aurora Rising trilogy. I love this series. I read this years ago and I still think about it. I really want to reread them one day. This book takes place in the future, and the cadets at the Aurora Academy are getting their first assignment and are getting sorted into teams. One of the top students, Tyler, thinks that he is going to get the best cadets to be on his team. However, he ends up with a group of misfits. In addition, he rescued this girl that has been in Cairo sleep for 2 centuries, and it says that she could be the catalyst that starts a war millions of years in the making, and Tyler's squad of misfits might just be the last hope for the entire galaxy. I really wish more people would read this trilogy. I never see anybody ever talk about it, but I absolutely adore this book. The next book I recommend is Dance of Thieves. I recently read this one and I really enjoyed it. It exceeded my expectations. This book is about a son who is thrown into the role of being king, and about a girl who works for the Queen's elite guard, and she is sent to his country. However, he doesn't know the real reason that she is here, and she is keeping it secret from him for most of the book, which makes it pretty hard because they start to catch feelings for each other. I think that this book was super cute. I really enjoyed this book. The next book I recommend is Illumini. This is also one where I've only read the first book. If you're looking for something different, I think that this book is for you. The format of it, the whole story is told in files. There's a lot of pictures, emails, and more. This book is sci-fi, and it also takes place in the future. There is this mega corporation that is trying to take over the planet, and the people living on that planet are forced, I think it's Earth? Pretty sure it's Earth. But they are forced off of the planet and have to evacuate. The book mostly follows these two main characters, Katie and Ezra. They are exes and they barely are talking to each other, but since they are thrown into this, they work together. Additionally, the AI system is going crazy, and there's also a deadly plague going around. So there's a lot going on in this book, hence why it is so long. But I think I read this book in like 2 days, especially because of the format. It looks intimidating, but I promise you, you'll fly through it. I cannot wait to read the rest of this series. Each series follows different characters. So this book is about Kitty and Ezra, and the next book is about our different people. I really thought this book was interesting, and I don't really know anybody that has read it. The next series I recommend is the Shatter Me series. This one is more dystopian with a little bit of supernatural elements to it. My favorite book in this series is actually it's the third one, called Ignite Me. If you have not read this series, you really need to. In this book, the reestablishment has taken over, and Juliet has this power where anyone she touches dies. Because of this, she is kept locked up, but one day the reestablishment decides that they are going to use her for bad, and Juliet just does not want to do that. So she plans in a way to escape. The next book I recommend is also part of a series. It is the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. I know that this series is pretty popular, but I only read it for the first time a few months ago. This book is so good. It is about Evangeline and Jax. Jax is the Prince of Hearts, and he is a fate. One day Evangeline finds Jax and makes a deal with him. However, they always say don't make deals with fates because you never know what you're gonna have to give up. They really like to twist around your words. So Evangeline is stuck in this deal with Jax. I really loved this series so much. I know I already said that, but this is one of the series that deserves the hype. That is everything I have for this video. I really hope you enjoyed and got some good recommendations. Thank you so much for watching. If you like book content, please like and subscribe. I will see you in the next video.